One of the questions our business leaders, key executives, politicians are all asking themselves at the moment is a digital disruption coming? We like to think of the question a little bit differently, and it's how soon is this digital disruption coming? We like to look back through history, and as you go through history and you walk through history, you look at things of what we used to do in the past. And everything that we're doing nowadays with technology is really available due to the accessibility, the lower costs and the compute powers that we have available to us today. So adoption of these technologies is really accelerating at a pace that we've never seen before. And if you think back, we've only had the internet for, I think it's about 20 years or 21 years. I think it was 1996 became more commercially available in Australia. You look at things like smartphones. We've only had smartphones for about 10 years now, and now there's something that we completely rely on. In fact, I was saying to Gideon before I came on, I feel a bit naked without my phone in my hand or my iPad, because it's my little comforter when I'm up here. And these are the technologies that we become reliant on. I remember when I used to have to get up in the morning, walk outside, and actually physically sample the weather so I'd know what I'd be wearing that day. One of our big customers, who's a large utility, has a great mass of networks in Queensland, used to go out and physically send people out to look at power poles, to look at condition reporting. And now they send out drones, and drones do it all automatically for them. In fact, they don't even have to look at the photos anymore. They can use technology that can compare a photo, in an artificial intelligence solution to the photo that they've just taken to determine the assessment of the condition. So with that, instance of business failure is increasing. So my bold statement is that if you don't innovate with digital technology, you will fail. It's pretty easy to see this. Like in the short history that we've been through over the last few years, we've seen Uber take over the taxi industry. We've seen Netflix take over the TV industry. I'll talk about going back even further, and it's not really that far. Kindle took over the publishing industry or the book industry. And LinkedIn is another great example, which took over from the recruitment industry, and also networking. One of our customers, I love this as an innovation solution, is Domino's Pizza, and powered by AWS. They deliver $10,000 a minute of pizza powered by digital technology. And if you look at major events like the AFL Grand Final, and I can say that in Canberra, so that's good, or the Super Bowl, they're doing about $100,000 a pizza, fueled by digital technologies. So let me feed into some real examples here. So the Singapore government is the first government to claim to be using a Facebook Messenger chatbot to answer questions that their citizens are asking. Things like, which department do I need to go to? Who can I contact? News, asking general questions, rates, all that sort of stuff. They can go straight in there without having to walk through and have a look through all the information on their intranet. What's also really interesting is that artificial intelligence learns as you ask questions. So these chatbots are amazing. As you ask more questions of it, it's going to learn more about it. So for example, if you ask it about pie in Singapore, you're not really asking about apple pie. You're asking about the Pan Island Expressway, questions like that. So it learns to customize itself, and it gets better as time progresses. Another great example is with the NHS in the UK. They're trialling at the moment on 1.2 people in northern London a chatbot which allows people to ask the chatbot questions rather than call in about symptoms. So, and the purpose of it is to say what to do next. So I've got these symptoms. Do I need to present myself to a hospital? How urgent is it? What do I need to do? So they're trialling this at the moment. And what this does is it's reducing the need for people to call in and reducing the strain on the service as well. And another great one is in the US, where when you sign someone up to vote, to register to vote, they do it for door-to-door knocking. Very different to what we do over here, obviously. But you go door knocking and you go in and you fill in a piece of paper and you get it all done, and that's a very lengthy process. So they're using SMS technology, and again, another chatbot, to go through and reach the masses and walk you through the process of registering, so they can reach out to a broader span of people over a shorter period of time. And one of my favourite examples is a local example with CBA, who have created a virtual reality application, and some of you might have seen this, Tales of a Teleporter, where its purpose is to teach children financial literacy. So they have a virtual reality application, the Teleporter. They have Sammy and the Space Koala as the fiction book that goes with it and teaches them how to do things. And they play a game where they collect coins, they learn to save, they learn to buy things. A bit like we used to have when some of us were kids, the Dolomite accounts or the passbook accounts and all those sorts of things. This is a new age of teaching people how to do things, and there's a lot of applications to this in other industries as well. Another great artificial intelligence example through digital technology is JP Morgan Chase, who are passing financial deals through an artificial intelligence application called COIN, Contract Intelligence, and it's interpreting documents of which lawyers would have taken, I think they estimate about 360,000 hours a year to go through these documents. COIN can interpret a document in seconds, it's less error prone, and it never gets sick. So technology is a key enabler to all of this, to all these areas of disruption and businesses at the moment. And the key thing for us is that IT and other areas of the business and organisations have a key role to play that's critical in enabling this. While we have the technology, we've got to foster culture, we've got to build rapid environments, and we have to work out a way to go through the full process. So we have a thing we call the CVD, the Continuous Value Delivery, where we work through from an ideation phase, come up with an idea, understand a problem, come up with an idea, do a POC in a really rapid amount of time, then build an architect, manage, and go through the cycle again. There's a methodology, there's a way to adopt these digital technologies. I guess the key thing that you highlighted before was that these demos and these applications have all been built through a process called continuous value delivery, and they've taken weeks, not months, and available through low-cost ways of delivering as well. So we can do these really quickly, we can do them fast, and we can integrate them into real business processes. So I think ComboNet was done in a hackathon over a day and built out over time. Parcelbot's kind of taken some further advancements. So that's really important. And anyone can do that. So we have the technology available to us. Gids has just showed how AWS has the technology. Well, it's all there, it's easy to use. So the process that we will go through to make this all happen is to start by understanding a problem up front. So like we understood, visually impaired, or whether it's carding is the issue. Then we go through what's called an ideation phase. So that's where you go through your ideas and try and work out, well, what's the right thing? What do we need to do? Then we get into the experimental phase. So we want to experiment with the ideas. So if it takes a day to build something, it's a day well spent rather than strategizing and coming up with the perfect solution. Moving from there into a stage where you reflect on the solution. Well, was that successful? Did it do what it needed to do? And then building the capability out. And that capability can be fostering a culture of, maybe you need a wheel in beanbags and table tennis tables or something like that. But it's really building out that capability. And again, it's back to our CVD. It's kind of going through and continuing to go through that cycle, because the more you try, the more likely you are to get a good solution out of it. And you can't be afraid to fail. And this will allow you to fail really fast and get to that stage quickly. So you're probably sitting there now thinking, well, why is Melbourne IT presenting all these really cool solutions? Aren't they a domain name and hosting company? Well, 21 years ago we were. And while we're proud of our heritage, we're really excited by our future. And our future has been built up over the last 3 years, where we're focused on digital end-to-end solutions. And the digital end-to-end solutions are underpinned by a few key capabilities. So data and analytics, and we acquired InfoReady in 2016. Mobile and web, through the acquisition of Outware in 2015, and our cloud practice, which has been around and organically grown through the process. And our equation is pretty simple of how we attract and how we build out digital solutions. We start with insights, or we start with engagement. If it's analytics or mobile or web. We look at it from a continuous change lens. So, the cloud platforms allow us, or the technologies that we've shown out today, of how we can continuously move through. What's the platforms? What's the automation? How do we make that happen? And that leads to innovation and growth for whatever your business or department is. So some of the key things you may or may not know about us. Melbourne IT was named in the Magic Quadrant for Global Public Cloud Providers this year, the first Magic Quadrant that Gartner's produced. One of only 2 Australian companies on that quadrant, and we were right up the pointy end of leaders as opposed to somewhere else, I guess. But it was a big feat to be in there. And we're also featured in the analytics. The recent one was Gartner's recent analytics sourcing guide for 2017. It just came out last month. Again, one of only a handful of companies in Australia to be there. We've got about 400. This stat's probably old because we're rapidly growing. We're probably getting closer to 450 cloud analytics and mobile experts in our organisation. Although, as I said before, Gideon's probably replacing us all with robots and artificial intelligence. We're an AWS Premier Partner, one of, I believe, only 2 in Australia and 55 around the world. And we're also part of the AWS Public Sector Program. I think we were the first to get onto that last year. Some of our customers, we service 40% of the top 20 ASX listed companies in Australia, as well as a lot of government departments, local and federal. And most Australians have used a application built by Melbourne IT daily. So with that, final note on that is that this technology is all here. These are the things that we can all do in our day-to-day lives. And if you're not innovating, you're being left behind. So move in, use the technologies and really build out something for the future. Thank you.